going to share with you, this is kind of the culmination of our 4th grade year in music. Reporter Karates is the program that we followed, and you'll see that they all have, and you probably all know, that they all have different color yarn around their recorder. And as we progress through the belts, only those who have earned that belt will play the particular song, but then we also have songs that everyone plays on as well, trying to mix it up a little bit. So we're going to get started. And one thing, please turn off your cell phones and refrain from calling out and waving, because they're focusing on the music, which will be back behind you. It's not there yet, but it will be. And they really need to focus on me and that. And also, we will have DVDs available for sale for $10 each if you want to have a keepsake of this night. Mr. Giuliano's back there recording, and he's going to get great close-ups and great shots of all of your children. So we will open our program with the first one, which is called, I can't remember what it's called. Space Fanfare. Here we go. Both courts. And now we're moving on. Now this is our recorder karate. I looked it up online, and I think I have the order of the belts right. But real karate doesn't have purple or red, no, purple and one of our other colors. But I think the others are in the right order. Our first belt was our white belt, which is hot cross spun. And we move on to our yellow belt song, which adds that first song had B-A-G in the left hand, 3 fingers, and now we add the right hand down at the bottom, playing the note E, and this also has a tricky rhythm with some dotted rhythms and then some straight rhythms too, which added another element of difficulty. So this is our yellow belt, Dot Spot Fever. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 makes a D, and a very familiar song, Old MacDonald, for Orange Belt. Okay, moving on to our Greenbelt song. Now it's a little bit tricky because we've always had this first finger of our left hand down. But to play a high C, we have to pick it up and put the second finger down on the second hole. And that was tricky for many of them. This is Celtic Spring Song, Greenbelt song. And now we have a version of a song everybody knows. This is called Mary's Mambo Mary's Bag, and the bag comes from the three notes B, A, and G, which are used in this song. play, don't play, don't play. Mrs. Holland, I said, whatever you do, don't push the top. Well, right now it's 67 degrees at Press play again. And pause. And back.
Okay.
The back. We nailed this afternoon.
Too good to be true.
Anyway, while she's figuring that out, I have to tell you, some of these kids up here, most of these kids up here, are tenacious. When they put their mind to something, they will not quit. And I have to tell, I told on them at the school performance, when we first started playing these recorders, all I heard was, "This is hard. This is hard." And I said, "Well, did you practice?" "No, it's too hard." And so, lately though, they I'm hurrying, okay? Anyway.
The computer woman's trying to help you.
Anyway. Mrs. Holland, I have to know Mr. Giuliano is filming you now.
I'll buy one of those CDs.
Anyway, once they kind of got a fire lit under them with this song because it was challenging. There's some tricky fingerings here. And they wanted it so badly, and they really, really, really had to work at this one. Once we got over this hump, it seemed to get a little bit easier. And some of the kids saw that it was getting easier as we went on, so they really worked to get this one done. This one is Wake Up Brother John, which you should recognize as Frere Jacques, a little jazzier. And let's hope that it's at the beginning. If not, we won't play, guys. Here we go.
1, 2, wake up, Brother John.
Our purple belt added the note F sharp, which we actually learned before we learned regular F. And the fingering on the bottom half is this, which has two fingers up, which look like ears. Right, remember F sharp. So the song that we're playing appropriately for this is Sweetly Sings the Donkey, and these are our donkey ears. Hopefully you'll see them when they play that. and learned F natural. So now they have to look at the music and decide which note is that. Is that going to be the F sharp or the F natural? Is a little trickier because it's 4 fingers and then 2 tuners down here, skipping a finger in between. This is our red belt song, Curtain Call. Past few weeks, my room has been flooded with these 4th graders coming before school, during their recess, after school. Anytime they saw me, they want to play a song so they can get a belt or a bead. After we got all of our belts down, we also have beads for extra credit. One of the beads that we had was the second part of this next song, Who Let the Recorders Out? And yesterday when we practiced this, we had 4 boys who had their, blue bead, who could play this second part. Today, well, you'll see how many we have. Come on out. Make a straight line if you can there. Take 1 step forward. And I think this song may remind you of another song that you might know. Now next year, when these children are all in 5th grade, at the beginning of the year, they will have an opportunity to explore all the band instruments and all of the string instruments and be a part of the band or strings program. If your child was one that was playing all the time and practicing and really striving to get those belts and drove you crazy with the practicing, they really need to be hopefully playing a string or a band instrument next year. So when they come home with the papers, that would be a perfect opportunity for them. If your child is one that is like, well, yeah, whatever, they may not want to do that because it gets a little bit harder with the band and string instruments, a little bit more practice, a little bit different, harder playing, different mouth positions that you need or whatever. So you kind of get a good idea of what might happen next year with an instrument. Our next song, our brown belt song, uses all of the notes of the C scale, including our lowest note on record, which is low C, which is every finger down, for except this pinky. This little finger has 2 holes to cover. This finger has 2 holes to cover. So lots of things could go wrong with this. Hopefully not. And if you are a child of the 70s, you might enjoy this version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
How come here?
And now our final song of our belts, not our final song of our program, but our final song for belts, the black belt, had all of those notes plus B flat, which is a very tricky note because each hand is down, up, down, and then this hand is also down, up, down, and it's just hard to do it. It's a lot of coordination. This song is called Werewolf Rock. May remind you of another song that you know, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. These are our black belt students right here. know some of you have been hearing it a lot at home because this wouldn't happen if they didn't practice. And you probably said, oh, great, we get to go hear a whole bunch of them at once. But hopefully you found it more pleasant than what you imagined. Our last song takes you back to the 80s a little bit. This is Big Bad B.A.G. That's when I was in high school. I wanted to act like I was younger than I am, I guess. Okay. So they did a great job. Our first one for our white belt uses 3 notes. 5th grade, you'll remember, B, A, and G. This one is called Hot Cross Fun because it uses hot cross buns, but in a little different way. Then we went on to our next belt, which is the yellow belt. And I don't know if these are the correct order for recorder or for karate, but I did look it up online. One said it was right. And so dot spot fever, which adds the right hand down to the bottom plane in E. So yellow belt people only. If you don't have your yellow belt, oh, we all have yellow belts. Low D, you'll recognize this song, Old MacDonald. If you don't have orange, another note, C, which was a high C, which is difficult because it's the second finger on the second hole. So the first time we had to lift up this finger, so it was kind of awkward. This song is called Celtic Spring. I want to say on that last one, really fun part was called a trill, where they take that one finger and just wiggle it from one note to the other. We thought it was very trilling. Thank you, somebody laughs at that. They never laugh. This is an arrangement of Mary Had a Little. Everyone's Our next song, probably one of the hardest ones to get over. And then once we got past this, it got so much easier. This has some tricky fingerings. It's called Wake Up, Brother John, but I think you'll recognize the melody as a jazzy Frere Jacques or Are You Sleeping?
1, 2, wake up, Brother John.
Which we learned before, we learned F natural, but it was kind of easy because it looks like it's got 2 ears. And the song that we learned is called Sweetly Sings the Donkey, so we call these our donkey ears. Watch for them. with ups and downs and everything else. But they had to remember, not that old F they knew, but now it's F natural. This song is called Curtain Call. Learning recorders, they came new to Bridgeport, and they had a lot of catching up to do on their own. After we learned the belts, we had extra credit songs, which they could earn beads for. This was one of those extra credit songs. The middle part, everyone's going to play the beginning, but there's a tricky middle part, which was the blue bead song. And several of them just earned that blue bead today. They're working right up to the very end. I have a feeling I'll have some after school today still trying. So we're going to have the people who have earned the blue beads come out, because they've got a special part in this one. Well, yeah, we got a lot of people now, guys. Yesterday we just had... Oh my God. Okay, ready? I think you'll recognize this one. Our next belt was the brown belt, which is the one right before the black belt. This is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star with a little disco feel. This uses all of the notes in a C major scale And the lowest note of all the recorder can play, which is every single finger covered up. And these bottom two fingers actually have two holes that they have to cover. So this is Saturday Night Star. And finally, we get to our black belt, which a lot of them were just earned today too. This is called Werewolf Rock, but we think most of you will think it sounds a lot like a song called Barracuda. Oh, G flats. It's a crazy thing. No D down. third graders?